The second is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And then, just to make sure everyone knew the weight of what he just said, he says this: there is no other commandment greater than these. Like, if you really want to summarize all the commandments, they all fit into these two. Like, love God with all, love God with everything, and then love your neighbor as yourself. In other words, the way we show that we love God with all our heart, soul, and mind is by the way we love others. And the more I think about it, the more this second command that Jesus gives us really ties into the series of acceptable sins. Because when we lie, who do we hurt? Ourselves and our neighbor. When we gossip, who do we hurt? Ourselves and our neighbor. When we're greedy, who do we hurt? Ourselves and our neighbor. When we complain, who do we hurt? Ourselves and our neighbor. When we get angry and sin because of our anger, who do we hurt? Ourselves and our neighbor. And Jesus, in his wisdom, knows that the second command is the one that is really hard for us to fake. The reason we don't like the love your neighbor part is because we can measure that. We can see that. Some things bother me a little bit. And then there's some things that probably, like you, bother me a whole lot. Some things can ruin my next few minutes, and some things can ruin my next few years. If someone pulls out in front of me in traffic, one of my pet peeves, like I can't, like especially when there's nobody behind me, like if they would have just waited 10 more seconds, 5 more seconds, like there's nobody coming, but they think they need to pull out in front of me. Like that bothers me for a minute or so. Like in my head, I may say some things that are not so kind about that person. Or sometimes those things slip out of my mouth and I say them out loud. But after a few minutes, like, I'm fine. I'm not going to let that ruin my day. But if somebody does something to me that costs me, that is a little bit harder to get over. That is going to take me a little bit longer to get past and push it aside. Like when my family and I were rear-ended a couple years ago. He hit us while we're sitting at a red light, and we had been sitting at this red light for about 40 seconds, which tells me he wasn't paying attention at all whatsoever, causing significant damage to our car. What made matters even worse was this person was driving while intoxicated, and to make matters worse, they drove off. It was a hit and run. And if things couldn't get any worse, they did. When they found this individual, they found out he had no insurance. Like I was angry. I was angry when it happened. I was angry when they told me they found the person and he had no insurance. I was angry when they took the car to the body shop. I was angry when they told me that they would pursue him for the damage, but I had to come up with the money, the deductible ahead of time. I was angry when I had to pay the insurance deductible just a week before Christmas that year. I was angry 2 years later when I got a letter in the mail from the insurance company saying they were going to stop pursuing him for the money because they had not received anything. Like I was angry. He owed me. He caused me significant damage. And there are people listening today that this is your story. It may not include a hit and run accident, but somebody did something to you in the past, and it's caused significant damage. They hurt you. And the emotions that we feel when it comes to that are very, very real. This is not a message to tell you, just get over it. This isn't a message to tell you that you shouldn't feel that way. That's even worse yet. Because you can't always help the way you feel. Like it hurt. It was painful. There was confusion. And today we're going to dive into God's Word and look at why we should forgive that person or those people and how to do it.